welcome to the second edition of MTC Interact. I'm your host, Tanya Doringo. This show seeks to enlighten customers and stakeholders about pertinent MTC issues. Here, you, the customers of our products, can directly engage with those sitting at the helm of MTC and get answers on those burning questions that we know that you have. Stay with us. Now, if you've just joined us, this is MTC Interact. And what's a panel discussion without a panel? Allow me to introduce Mr. Andre de Jager, who is the acting commercial chief commercial officer. I beg your pardon. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tanya.
Now, you are a new face to this show.
That's correct.
Fantastic. Next up, we have Mr. Liki Erastus, who is the Chief Technical Officer. Welcome, Mr. Liki.
Thank you, Tanya.
On this side, I have Mr. Tina Smith, who is the Acting Chief Executive Officer. Welcome to MTC Interact.
Thank you, Tanya, and evening to all viewers.
Next to him, we have Mrs. Patience Kanalelo, who is the Head of Legal. Welcome, Patience.
Thank you, Tanya.
And lastly, we have Mr. Timmy Kanjo, the Chief Human Capital and Corporate Affairs Officer. Welcome to MTC Interact, sir.
Thank you, Tanya.
Now, we know that you can't wait for us to get into the show, and we will do that right after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show. Now, to get things kick-started, I will start with Mr. Andre. Again, welcome to the show. Now, we have an issue with regards to the abundance of SMSs. Would you like to tell us what exactly is MTC doing with regards to these concerns?
Tanya, what we've done is obviously after looking at the complaints, we analyzed and we had a look at it. And there is still customers that do make use of these SMSs.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to say that the team are working on a solution.
Fantastic.
We will allow customers that get free SMSs when they recharge. We will give you the opportunity to convert that to free money.
Oh, look
and
at that.
That should go live within the next 2 months.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Now, I know a lot of people have been asking for it to be converted to data,
Yeah.
and I think the switch to money makes a lot more sense for those that want to call.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Let's jump over into our legal stuff. Ms. Patience, what is the procedure that is required, for example, for a third person to obtain call records on behalf of someone else? Walk us through that.
Okay. Well, ordinarily, we want to restrict the owner of the number to get their information from us. However, we do realize that there are situations where you are either unable, bedridden, or even out of the country.
Absolutely.
So we've made provision for you to give authorization to another person by signing a power of attorney. It must be originally signed when you bring it to MTC. You send them with your certified copy of your ID.
All right.
The person coming must provide an original ID with him, just for verification purposes, and then we will be able to give them the information.
And this can be done at any mobile home?
It can be done at any mobile home. So it would be for itemized bills, SIM replacements. You would be acting as if you are the owner of the person.
I see.
And importantly, it's for registered numbers only.
And it is very correct.
It must be registered.
It must be a registered
All right.
number, so we are able to verify the signature.
I see.
Correct.
Now, we know that with times and technology, there's always a new terminology. We know that for sure. Let's talk a bit about this new phenomenon called digital transformation. And I think, Mr. Liki, you'll be the best person to ask, what is digital transformation? And most importantly, how is MTC ensuring that Namibia, for example, is at the forefront of such technological advances?
At MTC, we define digital transformation as the transformation of the provision of digital services that will make a difference in the daily lives of our customers. So we strive towards creating a platform in the foundation that will enable us, or that will make us digital enablers. And this is driven by basically to improve the data usage, as well as to make internet affordable.
And I think that's what everyone is looking for, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic. Now, we wouldn't have an MTC show without talking about the Namibian Annual Music Awards. And Mr. Timikanjo, I'm going to have to put you on the spot for this one. There are rumors and concerns that MTC is constantly talking to South African companies and picking South African companies to head that production. Let's talk a bit about that and also just the process of the road to the NAMAs.
Yeah, there's always a lot of allegations, and I think it's our responsibility to educate consumers and our customers out there. The production services is a very specialized area.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of Namibians have been saying, why don't you take a Namibian company? I just want to quickly take you over the last 3 phases. We ran the NAMA tender for about 3 years. Whoever gets it would have it for 3 years.
Okay.
The first time we ran it, we only had 2 South African companies applying for it. The second time that we ran it, we had 2 South African companies and only 1 Namibian company. The last time when we ran it now, which was a couple of weeks ago, we had 3 South African companies, 1 Nigerian company, and the only 2 Namibian companies had South African partners.
All right.
So you need to understand that, I suppose if you were to ask, do we have the skills? It's in what I've just explained.
Precisely.
Yes. So yes, the NAMAs is a very big project. We do not treat it in isolation from our procurement policies.
Correct.
All our procurement, when we go out on tender, it would be for everybody to apply. Even though we're a Namibian company, we do compete globally, and therefore everybody is invited, whether you're Namibian or South African or whatever the case. I've been through so many of the shows around the continent, and you would find a lot of different nationalities working on those productions, because it is
massive.
so specialized.
Yeah, it's massive. Yeah.
And it's also we cannot just give it to a Namibian company simply because they're a Namibian
company. Yeah.
I mean, our reputation as a country is on the line. This is the best, the #1 national music award ceremony on the continent, and therefore we have to treat very. But we did a couple of years started the NAMA Academy, where we've invited Namibian companies to come in, for skills transfer. And that process has not been very well received. I mean, quite a lot of companies or Namibians did not take up the opportunity.
Okay.
Yes.
And why do you think that is, just to follow up on that?
I don't know. We've marketed it very, very well. There's a lot of skills transfer happening between the production team and NBC. For the first 2 years, we've had a couple of individuals that came, but it suddenly stopped. But you cannot just come and say, yes, give me the responsibility of the production, just simply because I'm Namibian.
Yes.
It doesn't work like that. It is a huge responsibility.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Tim. Now, I'm sure they were waiting for you to just slip the date of the numbers, and I'm sure that will also come in the call. But do know that our call lines will be open, and the number in studio is 061-291-3339. That is 061-291-3339. The calls will be open a little later on within the show. Allow us to continue. Now, earlier in the show, Mr. Andre, the first episode, there was a lot of complaints about data. MTC is, quote unquote, chowing our data. I know that those complaints have subsided. Tell us a bit about what measures MTC put in place to ensure that that happens.
Tanya, the one thing that we've done is customer education, in the sense of informing customers, telling customers, showing customers what to switch off, what to switch on. Especially if we look at Facebook and Instagram. I mean, I did a test and tested with a team. December, I opened everything. I did all my updates on my iPhone. I tested an Android. I've got a company sponsoring it. But I actually did about, I would say, 1.6 to 1.7%, or not, 70 to 60, 70% more data in December, where I just left everything to run. Say, listen, I'm not on Wi-Fi, I run everything on the mobile network.
Yeah.
I am active on Facebook, and I am also active on Instagram.
All right.
The big thing for me, what I've picked up, especially on Instagram, is if you browse Instagram, every so often they allow videos to start playing. So if you browse past your pictures, the video actually automatically plays.
Oh, wow.
So that is a big challenge because sometimes I don't want to watch that video, but
Precisely.
as I'm browsing through it,
By virtue
and
of
that's
that, yeah.
it actually chows some, let's call it chow your
Chowing
data.
data.
We also interacted with some customers that had complaints on Facebook and said, listen,
Okay.
let's talk about this. Let's understand and I don't want to say show them but really come to a point to understand why data is depleted 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Fantastic. And is that because those are busier times, or how does that work?
It depends on updates.
All right.
I think that's the one. On my iPhone, it's one of the things is to say, listen, update at midnight. It's one of the things that I chose.
I should follow suit. Eh?
So yeah,
Yeah.
And then there are things to say that if you have Wi-Fi at home, I've got Netman at home, there's certain things that I disable.
Correct.
WhatsApp, the other one, especially when I travel, I switch off, I don't want to download pictures, and also I don't want to download videos while I'm on mobile. I'll watch it when I'm at home later tonight.
Or when you have access to
Yeah.
Wi-Fi, yes.
Otherwise, these things just come through, and I mean, if you're in a meeting, you're not watching them in any case.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that we interacted with customers.
Tanya, Andre is just giving you a few tips, but
I'm taking them all in
yeah,
here.
we actually ran a very effective campaign called
All right.
Did You Know, where we ask, where we just give a lot of these tips
Facts, fun
that,
facts, yeah.
that the ordinary customer like me would not know.
Yeah. And how was the receiving of
It's
those?
been received very well.
yeah.
I mean, we ran those on social media, in newspapers as well. And these were tips that people were not aware of.
Correct, yeah.
Which is part of customer education.
Yeah. Now, I want to get into something a little bit more serious, and that's pertaining to our legal aspect as well. Now, we know harassment has become quite a popular issue, and MTC is one of the one bodies that we're looking at to help us. Let's talk a bit about how people can access SMS records or call records and that sort of thing to use it as evidence in case of harassment. Ms. Patience?
Tanya, we respect the privacy of our customers. So we don't keep SMS content on our system. We don't keep call records either. The actual call content we don't keep.
Wow.
What we do keep is you would be able to tell party A SMS party B at this hour.
All right.
Or party A called party B at this hour. But the actual content, we wouldn't be able to help you. So from that perspective, we would encourage the customer to rather keep the information on their phones and use that as evidence, because we'll be able to corroborate it by showing that at that specific time,
That did
in fact,
actual
this
fact
did
happen.
happen.
All right.
Yeah, but
And
the
that's very
content-
useful. That's quite useful.
That is quite useful.
All
But
right.
the actual content we don't keep. It's to protect the privacy of our customers.
Understandably so. Now, MTC is one of the biggest companies in the country. So you can imagine that sponsorship is one of the things that we are looking to MTC for. And Mr. Timikanjo, your emails must be full of requests for sponsorship. Let's talk a bit about how the public can access and the sponsorship budget that MTC holds, and if they can at all, actually.
Yeah, I think contrary to popular belief, our budget is limited.
Oh, no. No.
I think that is the very first thing that I need to emphasize. Secondly, I think it is important to, if before you submit any request, to understand our areas of our scope.
Yeah.
In terms, we look at, when it comes to sponsorship, we've actually now completely divided sponsorships versus CSI.
Okay.
Sponsorship is
CSI,
where,
would you like
yes,
to elaborate?
corporate social investment.
Okay.
These are areas where we would invest without necessarily getting a return, whether it is brand
Okay.
exposure. We look at things like poverty alleviation.
Yeah.
You don't go out there and actually demand for a return, whereas sponsorship is where we would actually...
It has to make financial sense,
yes. So if you look at our sponsorship policy, it looks at education,
Okay.
it looks at ICT, health, and then it looks at sports.
Yeah, those are quite big. Those are quite big
so
areas.
it's a large scope.
Yeah, quite.
It's also important to understand our financial year ends end of September. So if you come to MTC, even though the request is brilliant and you come around August, we would obviously tell you that the
We're not
budget is
within
almost.
our years.
So it's important to understand those things. I would encourage people out there who would like to make use of our budget to understand those things. Come to
Absolutely.
our
Yep.
offices and we will share the information with you.
That's very important information.
But our
Mr. T.
budget is limited.
The budget is limited. Mr. Tinas, allow me to pick on you for a bit. You've been quiet throughout the night. So last year we launched the 081 Everyone project. Let's talk a bit about how the project has been going and the success stories within that project, sir?
As we said last year, the 081 Everyone project is not only building towers, but there's a second component linked to it, and that's to upgrade our current network to a 3G network.
Yeah.
That allow the people in the rural areas to have proper data access as well. Currently, 401 towers being upgraded.
Wow.
To
That's
3G.
a lot.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
If you look at what is added to that, that really changed the people's life.
Yeah.
What has also happened to that, and a positive to that, is that we upgrade our transmission. So in future we can take new technologies to the rural areas.
Okay.
But obviously the question from the people and the viewers will be, what about the new towers?
Yes.
Phase 1, we plan 126 new towers. 111 new towers, which 26 towers we made use of existing infrastructure from other owners,
MTC,
other owners, not MTC. For us, it's important that we don't duplicate infrastructure.
Correct, yeah.
So that the money that's allocated to this project is spent wisely, and that we can get the best out of that. So 26 towers, we use other infrastructure, and they're up and running. So being switched on, 3G, people can make calls and they can browse and they can do 3G communication than that. Then 85 towers, it's neo greenfield towers.
What does that mean?
That means that there was no infrastructure in that area and that there was no coverage in that area. We already 37 been switched on. 43 will be in the next couple of weeks, let's say next month, will be switched on, and then the remainder is under construction. What is very important as well is that this is not only an MTC focused project, but is that we contribute to the national policies and the national broadband policy, so your NDP 5 and your Vision 2030 policy. To elaborate a little bit more on that is that the viewers, the question is, okay, what about after the 111 towers?
Precisely, what happens
because
then?
we mentioned the 500 in the beginning when we started the process, is that we're on the point to allocate the next batch. For us, it's very important that quality must be in place as well. So it's not a rushy thing. At the end of the day, it must be an infrastructure that's valuable for the future of this country.
Absolutely.
And that we spend the money wisely, and that the contractors give us proper return in the quality of assets. So the next batch will be allocated shortly. So the project is on its way.
Fantastic.
And what is also very important is that those people, you remember in the past I said that they need to travel to recharge and climb trees and all this stuff.
That was a big concern, yes.
That was the previously, But now those areas where we switch on the tower, they had the convenience to have network in the houses. So they don't need to travel to get recharge to get connectivity.
That's good,
And those people can start participating in sharing information, be part of the economic mainstream. So to summarize, the project is underway. Phase 1 is nearly completed. Phase 2 will start it shortly. And that can really change the lives and the convenience. And at the end of the day, it's to include all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can assure you,
very quickly, I think one of the most important things, apart from just connecting unconnected areas, is electricity. Part of the project also is making sure that we take electricity to areas that did not have electricity or that would otherwise not have had electricity.
If not for the towers.
Correct, yes.
Wow.
And that's part of the expenditure of the project as well.
That makes a lot of sense. And I can assure you, if the towers weren't working, our social media would be talking. It is time for us to get, that is correct, right? It is time for us to get into our social media questions. Earlier on this week, we asked you, our viewers, to ask MTC anything. And when we say anything, we mean anything. And this is the time where we're going to go into those social media questions and have our panel answer those questions. Also remember that you are free to give us a call later on in the show. The number is 061 291 3339. That is 061 291 3339. So let's get into these questions. I know that a lot of them were revolved around the Namas once again. So let's jump right into there. There are questions about why the Nama team or committee is not allowing for Damara Punch artists to perform. Tim, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised because firstly, let me explain how we get to performances. We give 98% preference to nominees. So if you're a nominee, the likelihood that you would be on stage performing is 98%. Because it just makes sense to expose the nominees.
Correct.
I'm actually surprised by the comment, because I think we've had the numbers for 8 years now, and for the past 8 years, the Damara Punch
category
performing slot has been one of the biggest.
Oh, yes, it has. All right, Mr. Rijachi, that was your question answered by Mr. Timikanjo. We will be going into a short commercial break, but do stay with us. We will be asking a lot more of those questions from social media. Stay with us. Welcome back. You are watching MTC Interact, and we just opened our social media platform for those of you that wanted to ask some questions to MTC. Tim Ikanjo answered the first one regarding Damara Punch, artists at the Numbers, and I want to go right into Mr. Andre. Now, people want to win. We all want to win. And we have a question over here from Mr. Thompson Kafita. He's saying, when are you going to put out bigger competitions again? We want to win big.
Define big.
Very big.
Okay. I can't give a date at this stage. I mean, we know customers take part, and I mean, there's always these competitions. There will be competitions this year.
Nice.
We recently had the one in December, but there will be new competitions. We will obviously look at the prizes. We always look at what is really in the market, what people want, what is happening, what are going on. So I don't want to spill the beans.
Will it be a car?
We've done a lot of cars. I can't confirm that it will be a car, but there are other experiences. Apparently the millennials want experiences and not things. So yeah, we are looking at something. There will be another campaign.
Thank you so much, Mr. Andre. Now, Mr. Thompson, that was your answer. There will be something. We don't know yet, but we will eagerly be waiting. We have another one here from Mr. Gabriel Gabes, and he wants to know, when are we getting our VAT back, and how do we get our VAT back? MTC has been deducting our VAT since flood years. Mr. Tinas, would you like to take that one?
Yeah, that's quite a number of years. But we deduct VAT as per tax legislation.
All right.
And the ruling that was given to MTC is that VAT need to be deducted on distribution of airtime.
All right.
So when we sell it direct to a person that uses it, or to a distributor or a company, we need to charge VAT on that.
All right.
And it's not paid to MTC. We receive the money on behalf of the receiver of revenue and paid it over to the receiver of revenue.
Okay.
So obviously we're out of pocket, if you can call it like that.
Yeah.
We're the collecting agent, and we paid over to the receiver of revenue, so they can't claim it back from us because we don't have it. But yeah, we honor, and it's legislation as per a ruling.
And what needs to be in place for one to access that, or to approach MTC, for example, to claim back their VAT? Perhaps you or patients from a legal perspective can jump in.
You can start, and then I can.
Seeing that we are not benefiting from the VAT, it's the receiver of revenue benefiting. You cannot claim it back from MTC.
All right.
Obviously, in terms of legislation, you are eligible to claim VAT back from the receiver of revenue if you are registered and if you are also using it for your business. So those are rules put in place by the receiver of revenue, not necessarily from MTC. So you can't claim it from MTC.
Yeah, Mr. Tinus, would you like to add?
Yeah, no, patience is 100% correct. And then, but the underlining is you need to use it in the purpose of your business and then follow the rules and regulations for input VAT claim. Fantastic. On your quarterly or your bi-monthly returns.
Yeah. I want to go back into the competition. I know that there are a lot of questions regarding the competition aspect of things. There has been a request for these competitions to happen in public or on a live show. How does MTC feel about that, and could that be something that we look into? Who would like to take this one, Mr. Kanjo?
Yeah, I suppose customers would want to see live shows when we do the draws, but it really depends on your roles.
Yeah.
If for instance, part of your roles is that after 3 dials, if you cannot get hold of the winner, that you go to the next winner, then it makes sense that it's a live draw.
So we always have to have our phones on.
Yeah, but it changes the complexion when your rules state that you must try and get hold of that winner for at least 24 hours.
Oh, yes.
Then you can't be live on TV for 24 hours trying to get hold of it.
Correct.
But irrespective of that, we still have internal and external auditors that oversee all our draws. We're so transparent when it comes to draws. Yeah.
All right, that question was posed by Mr. Comrade Excellence, so I hope that answers your question. Allow me to go back to you, Ms. Patience. This question is from Sydney Tuta Life. Is it possible to change or cancel a number from contract to prepaid and still keep the same number? Should I repeat that?
No. Okay. You don't need to repeat it. It is possible, obviously, to move from postpaid to prepaid. However, in terms of our systems, so it's more a technical question, but I'll answer it. You can't move from, you can't carry an 0811 number to an 081 number.
All right.
However, if you already have a contract with an 081 number, you can keep it when you move to prepaid. Okay. This is more a system restriction than anything else.
All right, that was short and sweet. Those were some of the questions that we received on our social media platforms that we asked earlier on this week. But do be sure to give us a call here in studio. We will also be taking some questions. The number in studio is 061 291 3339. That is 061 291 3339. Allow us to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
LTE, now available on prepaid. MTC, make the connection.
Welcome back. If you have just joined us, you are watching MTC Interact, and I'm your host, Tanya Doringo. Our phone lines have opened, so in case you want to give our panelists a question, be sure to contact us at 061 291 3339. That is 061 291 3339. And whilst we're waiting for those questions, allow me to come back this side, Mr. Andre. Now, the mega jackpot competition was massive. It was mega. Some good, some bad. Let's talk a bit about that show and the successes of the show, of the competition.
The mega jackpot was really something new for us because it was based on a trivia campaign. we've learned a few things. The one thing that we learned is that customers started competing against each other to see who's got the most points, which is obviously very positive. And then, the other one is that customers want to be able to change, and they want to change their subscriptions and add subscriptions. So we added *101# where you can view what you subscribe to, and then obviously how you can unsubscribe from services.
All right. Let's quickly get to Tangeni from Keetmans. Welcome to MTC Interact. What is your question? Unfortunately, we lost Tangeni. Would you like to continue, Mr. Andre?
Yeah, so those are some of the things that we realized. And then there is a huge drive and a huge ask from customers to have content in their own languages.
Oh, absolutely.
So we are looking at testing Oshivambu content. I think within the next week, we will start testing that and see how it works. And because there's a whole team behind it to make sure that it's correct. And obviously, we will start testing that and make it live.
That's quite interesting. Let's talk a bit about roaming, Ms. Patience. Now, we've noticed that some people, when they're closer to the borders of the country, the network switches between the country that they're getting closer to. Let's talk a bit about that and what measures have been put in place or are in place for avoiding that cross-border roaming.
Okay. Tanya, what happens when you are in a bordering town, bordering another country, you would sometimes get that network. You would pick up that network. So what we've done on our side is we've done drives to make sure that our signal in these towns is a little bit stronger than the one coming in.
All right, we have a caller. Can I cut you off just? Nangolo from Windhoek, welcome to MTC Interact. What is your question?
My question is, I even wanted to put my number back to a 4G number, but when I go to a mobile house, they told me my number was deactivated. I want to know, why did they deactivate my number? Because the number is on my name. But then later when I get there, they told me, your number is deactivated.
Okay. So you want to find out why your number has been deactivated. Is that correct?
Because I have two numbers,
You have two numbers.
I didn't change them to 4G.
Right, fantastic. Thank you so much for your question. Would anyone like to take that one regarding deactivation of numbers? Andre?
Tanya, there's a period that we, obviously, if customers don't use their number, they don't recharge.
All right.
Then it goes into deactive, there's an expiry, and then at the end we delete the number and we recycle the number, if I can call it that.
Do you want to tell us what the timelines are?
90 days, 60 days, and I think 30 days.
Okay.
Thank you.
And
that's quite generous.
That's also how we calculate active subscribers.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we tell Namibians that we have 1.6 million people, we actually count active subscribers.
Okay.
No?
Just to add to the reason we do that is not because we want to be difficult. It's because the numbering resource is a resource we pay for to the regulator. So if we have a number that's not necessarily giving us revenue, we need to switch it up or give it back.
And 60 days is quite generous. 90, that's quite a lot of time. Would you like to continue?
Yeah, so after 90 days, you can just recharge. Then there's a 60-day period you have to go into a mobile home.
Yeah.
And then we do allow, we call it cut-off period. If you're in that latest period, you can come into a mobile home, and if the number is still available, we can still, at a fee, activate that number. But once it goes into the system and goes back to either another customer, then obviously you've lost that number. But if I may, the customer asked, how do I convert that to 4G?
Precisely.
We are currently busy with our smartphone roadshow. I mean, you've seen the ads.
Yes, brilliant ad.
So if you have a 4G phone, thank you very much. If you have a 4G phone and a 3G SIM card, you can go there and we will swap it for you free of charge.
All right.
So we will convert you to 4G.
Oh, there you go. We have Moses from Walfish Bay. Moses, welcome to the show. What is your question?
Yeah, actually, I want to ask about my feelings regarding to when I lost a phone.
Would you like to speak a bit louder, Moses?
Yes.
Thank you.
I would like to ask if I lost my phone.
Okay.
And you end up losing all your numbers. It was normally it was paid on MTC to get your numbers back once you lost your phone, but now it's no more working. I would like to see if they can improve on that, please.
Okay. I hear two questions there. You want to find out what happens when your numbers get lost and if MTC can improve that. You're saying that before you could claim your numbers back from MTC. Is that accurate?
Yes, to retain those numbers.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Moses, for your question. So he wants to know, how can he reclaim his numbers once his phone has been stolen?
Does he mean his SIM card or does he mean his contacts on his phone? I think he meant his contacts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Contacts are normally saved either on the SIM card or on the device itself.
Okay.
So, and as patients alluded to earlier, we don't keep customer personal information on our databases.
All right.
So unfortunately, there's nothing we can
Even
do.
on the SIM card itself, nothing.
If the SIM card is lost,
Yeah.
there's nothing we can do.
But to help the customer, if the customer do a backup on his computer,
Oh,
those
yes.
things is available. So then they can synchronize the device with another device, even a hard drive or computer, and those things been back. But that's for in the customer's, and it's not in our code.
Absolutely.
However, if the customer meant getting back his or her number, they can always do a SIM swap.
A SIM swap, all right. Our phone lines are open if you want to ask any of the panel here any questions. Do make sure to give us a call at 061 291 3339. That is 061 291 3339. We will go back into our questions. I believe we're still talking about roaming and that sort of thing. Please.
Where was I? When you're roaming, when you're in country, but you inadvertently roam on the country next to you.
Yeah.
What we've done is we've informed, we went out and did a big campaign where we've informed customers that we will send you an SMS if you happen to be roaming. And when you receive that SMS, manually switch off your phone. Switch roaming off your phone. Manually pick MTC as the carrier.
Yeah.
That's the only way to prevent that from happening. Otherwise,
Alright.
if your phone is on an automatic setting, it will automatically roam on whichever stronger network it is.
I see. We have Belinda from Windhoek on the line. Belinda, welcome to MTC Interact.
Thank you very much.
What is your question, Belinda?
I would like to find out what has happened to, what is that? I know there was a system where you could use your internet for free. I just forgot the term. From 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
Okay.
I've realized of late I'm not able to do that. Happy hour, yes. Happy hour.
All right, so you want to find out what has happened to happy hour. Is that correct, Belinda?
Yes,
All
yes.
right. Thank you. Who would like to take that one? Happy hour.
It should be mine.
Mr. Andre?
Okay, what we've done with Happy Hour is, as part of your product involvement, we made Happy Hour now part of Super Aware.
Okay.
So obviously Aware is one of our biggest suites of products.
Absolutely.
It's I believe loved by a lot of customers. My kids use it, or they used to use it when they were in country. So we made Happy Hour now part of Super Aware. So it's still at 53 Namibian dollars. You now get, apart from the 3 gig, I have to do a commercial break. Apart from the 3 gig extra data that we gave you, we also now included Happy Hour as part of the Super Aware suite.
I see.
And that's part of the whole product suite in the product development.
Absolutely. So that is what happened to your happy hour. I hope that answers your question, Belinda. Whilst we're waiting for our other callers to join us on the show this evening, allow us to talk a bit about ICT and the technological advances that we have in our country. Let's talk a bit about how this is affecting MTC's strategies, Mr. Licky.
We pride ourselves as leaders when it comes to technology.
Okay.
Because we have proven over the years that we are always first, most of the times in Africa, if I have to reference back to 4.5G and a few others.
Yeah.
And we have pillars that are guiding us to continue to be, the changes in technology basically keeps motivating us in continuing to be innovative.
Absolutely. We have a caller. Can I cut you off just for a bit? Julia from Windhoek, welcome to the show. Can we have your question?
Good evening. My question actually has been asked just by the caller that, the previous caller, but maybe I can
regarding happy hour, Julia?
Regarding happy hour, yes.
Okay.
I just wanted actually to find out, it is actually now only available on our Super, right? So I wanted just to find out if there is, after the promotion of our Super, if it will come back as normal. Mr. Andre, maybe can just answer that, or if is it completely terminated from as an MTC service?
Okay, thank you so much, Julia. She says if Mr. Andre could please answer that.
Thank you very much. Happy Hour was discontinued.
All right.
So it is now incorporated in Super Aware, as I
Okay.
said. When Super Aware continues as a full product, then we will either keep Happy Hour, which we believe at this stage.
Yeah.
But those are decisions we need to take. But at this stage, we had a huge drive from customers to say, listen, Happy Hour as the one side,
Yeah.
but they also want to have the calls.
Absolutely.
And that's how we
yes.
incorporate and say, listen, but our let's call it our flagship product as Super Aware.
Yeah.
We incorporated that. And I have to stress the fact that, go get a commercial break, it's free on Super Aware.
Okay.
So there's no extra fee, there's not an additional, the moment you buy Super Aware,
It's
you get
automatic.
happy hour
Nice.
automatically, correct.
All right.
But having said that, we do listen to our customers. So we've heard quite a lot of them now saying happy hour, happy hour.
Yeah.
And, it's something we'll definitely discuss.
Yeah. I hope that answered your question, Julia. So it has been discontinued. However, it is within the Super Aware package and it is free. I would like to come back to you, Mr. Liki, regarding the technology and how it's affecting the MTC strategies.
Yeah. So the technology advancement is influenced by our passion for innovation
Yeah.
as MTC. We rather focus on customer obsession towards our service instead of looking at what the competitors are doing.
Okay, we've got Matthew. Sorry, Mr. Liki. Matthew from Windhoek, welcome to MTC Interact.
Oh, thank you very much. I have got a concern with MTC.
Okay, please.
Let me say, for instance, I recharge away, no matter which away. Now, once I left the money on my phone,
Okay.
let me say I recharge the away of 60 and I was having $80 on my phone. I just find that $20 that I left has already been taken away, by MTC. Now, my question is, once you call the MTC call center,
okay,
and they find out that, yes, the money has been taken away, they refer you to the mobile house. And sometimes you might be 60 kilometers away from the mobile house. Just imagine to go 60 kilometers from where you are, just to go and claim $20, but they can see the money on the system that they have been taking those money. Why is it not possible to just return the money to the number because it shows on your system? Wasting the money again that you've taken, and you waste again the money for transport to reach the mobile house. How does it possible? What can you do about it?
All right. Thank you so much for sharing those concerns with us. And it would also be nice if we knew which mobile home it is so that the team can definitely look into that. Would someone like to comment on that one?
I think it is a valid concern.
Yeah.
Firstly, before getting to whether the money was correctly taken or not, we've been rolling out a lot of new mobile homes into areas where there's previously been no mobile homes.
Correct.
The last one being Opuo just a couple of weeks ago. And that's basically to make sure that we get closer to our customers. Whenever they have a problem, they should be able to walk into our mobile homes. If a customer comes up and say, $20 or $10 disappeared from my phone, we always try and invite those customers to come in because it could be various reasons. It could be, like Andre earlier said, apps running on your phone, background apps. So the best thing is that we usually invite the customers or and then we do an analysis on their phone to check what has actually happened.
Absolutely. And that's important. I mean, when a normal consumer has their phone, we don't always know what is the problem. Yeah. Our show is,
it's also customer education.
Oh, yes, most importantly. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, an hour always runs by fast, and we are almost coming to the end of our show. But before we do that, we will take a quick commercial break and come right back. Stay with us.
Chuzi, we're ready to start shooting.
Can't you see that I'm on the phone?
Meet Meme Chuzi, your guide to our all-new MTC Select MoBiz and Smart Share packages, which come with more data, shared SIMs, a choice between 12 or 24-month contracts, and a separate phone plan, if you want. Because now the choice is yours. Can't choose? Don't worry. Meme Chuzi isn't afraid to share her opinion, as you can see.
Hey! I know what I like. And then what happens?
MTC, make the connection.
Does anybody have a charger? A charger? A charger, please.
Welcome back. If you have just joined us, we are here at MTC Interact, where we are talking about all the pertinent issues that you have for MTC. On the line, we have Erastus from up north. Erastus, what is your question? Welcome to MTC Interact.
Thank you for the program. Yes, my question is, theft of cell phone is on an increase nowadays. And the issue is, once your cell phone was stolen, you need to go to the police station, and then at the police station, a person needs to open a docket, and then the police has to take the docket to MTC. And then the MTC has to trace that phone, because where it is. I mean, normally sometimes can take for three months or maybe sometimes even a year. Wow. What I want is that why can MTC decentralize the tracing of the phones to the region? Because a lot of cell phones are being stolen. It's not a joke. On a daily basis, maybe 10 cell phones are being lost. But then it takes long for a person to recover the phone.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Oh, that's one question. Yes?
Are we together?
We are very much together, Erastus.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
And then the other thing is, you get that sometimes people who knows the employees at MTC, they take a shortcut, and then their phone can be traced easily. But then the one who don't know people at MTC, they have to go through that channel. I mean, it's frustrating.
All right, so
why can't the MTC just come up with a system where they can have the person who provide the receipt of the cell phone, the proof of the ownership of the cell phone? And then they ask the person directly rather than the person to go to the police station.
All right. Thank you so much, Erastus, for your question. Who would like to take that regarding phones that are stolen and the time period that it takes before one can claim? And what can MTC do?
Tanya, the reason we request from you to get a police declaration is basically to prove ownership.
All right.
Again, flows into the whole privacy and us treating our customers' information confidential.
Correct.
So we expect from you to go get a police declaration, go make a case, get a police declaration, and get a subpoena. So basically, it's a search warrant that allows us to trace the phone. To trace the phone on everybody's say-so could be quite risky.
All right.
We need to be able to prove that it is, in fact, your phone that's been stolen.
Yes, absolutely. Now, we are quickly running out of time, I beg your pardon. But one question that I really want to get into is for Mr. Timikanjo regarding the MTC Internship program that everyone seems to be talking about. Do you want to quickly talk to us about what is that and how it will work, really quickly?
I received about 100 emails from students asking me about that. Very quickly, we have about 48,900 students per annum.
Wow.
Just looking for internships. Obviously, it's a very big national problem.
Correct.
About 80% of those students cannot graduate if they do not go for an internship.
Absolutely.
And that's why we decided to invest in this area. It's one of our biggest CSI projects. We have decided to make available to sponsor 161 students per annum for the next 3 years.
Wow.
We've invited corporates to come on board. We have NAST, we have IUM, the VTCs, and of course UNAM participating in this. So they will tell us that we've now gone through a whole process where they will tell us, I think we've allocated 30 students amongst the 5 institutions, and they will then give us the names of the students based on a certain criteria.
Yeah, 30 is a lot.
Yeah,
so. Yeah, very
and of
nice.
course, we're inviting corporates to place the students, because we'll not be able to place all the students at MTC. So we've committed an amount of 3,000 Namibian dollars over 3 months, makes it 9,000 Namibian dollars per student. And all we're asking corporates is to allow us to help place the students, and we pay for the students' internship.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Timikanjo. Now, I'm sure you'll get 100 more emails after that.
They should go through the institutions.
They should. Unfortunately, we don't have any more time for the show, but thank you so much for joining us here on MTC Interact, the show that allows you, our customers, to be asking the questions and essentially setting the agenda. From me and the entire panel tonight, it's good night, Namibia. Thank you. Until next time.